Hello, I'm ELD, and these are some of my picks for cards to look for in the Mystical Archive, a new set of instants and sorceries, all reprints from the history of Magic, reimagined with beautiful new art in both English and Japanese. And these are available in Strixhaven booster packs. So we're talking about draft packs, set boosters, collector boosters, have tons of them. These are going to be somewhat abundant. It's going to be really interesting to see how the market prices these all out, because this is not at all like a box topper or a masterpiece from Kaladesh or anything like that. These are going to be in every pack. So, I mean, it seems like these could be readily available. Like we'll see. There's going to be foil versions, which will be Chaser, of course, but I don't know. It seems like we're going to get a pretty significant influx of these cards. So Swords to Plowshares, a absolute staple for Legacy, Vintage. It sees play. I mean, it is just the best one-mana removal spell in the game, rivaled, I mean, really only by Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt has greater utility, but Swords to Plowshares, in terms of doing its stated job, which is exiling a target creature, there's nothing better. Hard to imagine there ever will be. Even the clones of this are incredibly good. Things like Path to Exile. And here we see the gorgeous Japanese art as well. Really unique, and the fact that the Japanese text going vertically along the side of the card just gives the art so much room. So these are, I think, a very welcome addition to the game, given that they're the most iconic cards that have ever been printed in the 27-year history for some of them. Swords to Plowshare is certainly, in my mind, up there with cards like Black Lotus. Teferi's Protection, a newer card, 2 and a white, and until your next turn you can't change, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out, and then you exile Teferi's Protection. This is a major commander card, something that can actually stop a overloaded Cyclonic Rift while having other upside, and there's just a lot of commander players which will be very happy to get their hands on this, a very pricey card prior to the reprint. And here we have a just beautiful anime version of Teferi, just tearing it up. I mean, I don't actually see a sword in here, but looks like he's fighting. Yeah, just really dynamic art on that. Brainstorm, of course, probably my favorite card in the game. I mean, I like Ancestral Recall more, but still, Brainstorm, I mean, you can't play with 4 Ancestrals, so Brainstorm, absolutely beautiful, and we've got new art to choose from. I mean, this won't dislodge the Tony DiTerlizzi art for me, but you know what? If you're playing Brainstorm in a lot of different decks, nothing wrong with having different Brainstorms for different decks. And then our Japanese version, very fun. Little on the nose, but very fun. Counterspell, of course. Since Alpha, the simplicity of this card, Counterspell, what does it do? Counters target spell. For just 2 blue, you get to say no, and now you've got some new art to go along with that, and we've got some gorgeous Japanese art as well. Man, they really hit it out of the park with these. Time Warp, a card not as good as Time Walk. Time Warp at 5 mana, somewhat fair, but it does see some play. Certainly a lot in Commander, where people tend to be pretty pissed off about it. You know, Commander is about having fun, and if you're the only one taking all of the turns, the rest of the table's probably going to be pretty salty about it. So for people that are playing to win, there are tournaments, and if you're playing Commander, there is a little bit of a social negotiation in terms of making sure that everybody actually has a good time. And we get a Japanese alternate art version as well. Dark Ritual, the Boon Cycle, Ancestral Recall, Dark Ritual, Lightning Bolt, Giant Growth, and Healing Salve from that original Alpha. Getting a 3-for-1, really good, especially with mana. And here we've got new art, and expect Storm decks to enjoy playing this. Incredibly dark, especially compared to the other Mystical Archive cards. I mean, there's just a lot of black on this card, and it really, I think, is a striking card. A lot of symmetry in these cards in terms of kind of the mirror reflection when you divide the card down the middle. We notice that in the Brainstorm as well. And here's that Japanese version. Big fan of this. This is the type of card where if it's super cheap at launch, I mean, why not? Why not get a playset? I mean, it would not be surprising if this card down the line is considerably more expensive. Wouldn't take that much for this to be a playset of choice once the packs are long gone from the shelves. Demonic Tutor, of course, sees play in Vintage and Commander. The only, 93, 94, just in general, way too powerful for most formats. Certainly too powerful for Legacy. I mean, some of the best decks in that format play like budget Demonic Tutors. Cards like Infernal Tutor, which are nowhere near as good. You have to jump through hoops to get the same functionality as you do out of the Demonic Tutor. Still totally worth it, enough to build an entire archetype around it. And the Japanese version, man, I really don't have the capacity to express just how awesome these are. The use of negative space in these cards, the simplicity of the color palette, just the white, black, and red, to create such a powerful composition that has a feeling of a story as well. You've got this Oni in the background, dangerous with that sword, and you've got your lone samurai there sitting with the scroll. Just gorgeous. Inquisition of Kozilek, a rather new addition, but actually good enough to see play in Vintage as well. Sees a lot of play in Legacy. Probably not as popular in Commander given the variety of CMCs, or what is it now, MVs, mana values. They did with this set change converted mana cost to mana value. So that actually says that on this card. Starting with this set, we've got mana value, so MV instead of CMC. You're going to take a non-land card with converted with mana value 3 or less, and then that player discards that card. And we've got this beautiful Japanese version as well. Tainted Pact. Now this is a Highlander All-Star. No matter what Highlander format you're playing, this card is absolutely brutally good. Instant speed, exile the top card of your library. You can put that card in your hand unless it shares a name with another card exiled this way. And you repeat that process until you put a card into your hand or get 2 cards with the same name. So Highlander formats, if you can swing not running basic lands with the same names, then you're going to be able to use Tainted Pact to get whatever card you need out of your library, just exiling all of the cards that were on top of it. So basically an instant speed Demonic Tutor. It's tough to get better than that for Highlander formats, be that EDH, Commander, or something like Australian Highlander. Cards just incredibly strong, and we've got this Japanese art as well. Aspects of traditional art here with a little bit more of a modern feel as well. Chaos Warp. Now this is interesting because this will be the first time that you can get foil Chaos Warp out of a booster pack. Previously, if you wanted Chaos Warp and foil, I believe the only printing was the Commander's Arsenal, which was this like box that came out. I remember splitting the finals of a tournament. It was a very inexpensive tournament, and that was over at Game King over in local store. So I was playing there years and years ago, split in the finals with John Ashworth. We just chopped up the box, and there was all sorts of good stuff in there. But the foil Chaos Warp, only one available was from that. I was playing, what was I on? I had Jace and Liliana. I think it was like a Esper Stoneblade. Yeah, I had Lingering Souls and Stoneforge Mystic, Jace, the Mind Sculptor, Liliana of the Veil. Had a game in that tournament where somebody show and telled an Emrakul on the first turn, and it was nowhere near good enough. I just was able to put in an extra land, and then on my turn play a land and play Liliana, and just get him out of there. That was pretty disheartening for him. Lightning Bolt. No shortage of options from Lightning Bolt. I mean, we've had a lot of printings of this card, but this is a new one. And I suspect that players will enjoy adding this to their list, adding this card to their list, probably more so in those type of control decks that run Lightning Bolt. You're going to have like a playset of your spot removal here in Lightning Bolt, whereas in a burn deck, maybe not as exciting. I don't know how people feel about kind of the overall aesthetic appeal of the deck. It feels to me like, you kind of want all of the cards to look this way, and it doesn't look like there's a particularly good deck that you could build out of everything here that would be legal and legal and competitive in any format. But this lightning bolt as well, another option. Beautiful. Natural Order, the finisher for elf decks, gets some new art. So this card, as an additional cost, you sack a green creature and you get a green creature out of your library, put it into the battlefield. Crater Hoof Behemoth, the go-to for Natural Order. You can also grab Progenitus, as that has green in its mana cost, or Archon of Valor's Reach. Those are some options from the deck, from the elf deck in Legacy, and this is absolutely going to be a consideration for those elf pilots, as is the Japanese version. And we're back to the sword. So that is it. These are kind of my top 12. There's like 120 something. I want to say 127. Yeah, 126. 27 wouldn't make sense because there's English and Japanese. It's going to be an even number. So 63 new cards, 2 different arts, and all instants and sorceries. They are absolutely beautiful, and they are available in Strixhaven booster packs. So when you're doing your pre-release, you're going to be getting at least 5 of these in your 5 other packs. We don't quite know what's in those seeded packs. Those will be coming out. I'll be receiving those today or tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to have enough to do a booster break on those, but this is really a interesting way to bring excitement to a standard set for those of us that don't really care about standard. It's a pretty good idea. Give us a bunch of eternal cards. I don't know about the execution in terms of just how many there are, but yeah, I think this is something that gets people excited who wouldn't normally care about standard. So for that, you got to tip your hat. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.